Hi, this is Elvira, and in this presentation we're going to go over Reminder Dialogs. Our learning objectives will be, at the end of the session, participants should be able to identify the anatomy of a dialogue, the element, groups, prompts, and findings, and understand basic physiology of a dialogue operation, and what and where data is written to RPMS and TIU. A dialog feels and looks and acts like a TIU template, but they are not note templates, thus cannot be edited in the EHR GUI. List of statements and associated findings that appear in a dialog box in the EHR used to resolve a reminder. It's generated from a reminder definition or created manually. Must be defined and linked to reminders before clinician can resolve reminders through EHR. And dialog box appear when specific reminders are selected with a list of checkbox items that has been predefined as potential actions to satisfy the reminder. So how dialogs are created? You can auto-generate them, but when you auto-generate them, they do not generate the groups. Once you bring them in, the user will need to confirm all the elements and then group them together if he prefers to have a dialog group. Manually created is you create your own dialog elements, you create your own dialog prompts, groups, additional prompts, and dialogues to support guidelines. The pros are they're automatically linked to a reminder. It includes all elements for the reminder findings, and it auto-generates the appropriate prompts. The con is it includes all the elements for findings, requires you to review them to ensure they're all appropriate, and do not generate groups, only elements. And I never use the auto-generated. I usually just bring them in from the exchange and then activate them, and usually they're all linked and grouped together. So we'll have some hands-on on how to bring those dialogues in and how to activate them. When you create a dialogue, it is important that you make a plan considering what kind of actions do you want to record, what are the sentences you want answered and how, where would there be sections within your dialogue, would these sections be nested, would they be hidden until clicked, what dialogue elements will satisfy the reminders, will this dialogue be attached to a reminder or would it stand on its own. Basic building blocks for dialogues. You have the resolution, where it was done, clinical versus historical, how was it done, order versus other, did it get done, or did it get refused? And only immunizations are the ones you can refuse. Finding elements, what was done? Is it an immunization, an orderable item, a health factor, an exam, etc.? And do you need additional prompts? It allows you to completely document the finding item. For example, you can document the lot number, the injection site, any comments, as additional prompts. Let's go over the resolution types. You have the done and encounter. This resolution type captures items such as exam, immunization in a note without having to jump to the note tab or the health factor or exam tab. Done elsewhere, these are historical entries such as colonoscopy, mammograms, PAP, order. You can order a consult, a lab, a medication, a nursing order as soon as you complete the note. Contraindicated, this resolution type does not work for IHS. Other, you're going to use that for health factors, and patient refusals. Only works for immunization. Let's go over the different type of findings you can use. You can use an education topic, immunization, skin test, exam, health factors, procedures, these are CPT. You can create taxonomies, quick order, measurement type, and asthma control. Notice that no longer you can use ICD-10 or any of those ICD codes. If you want to use them, you more likely need to create a reminder taxonomy with those codes and then add them into your dialogue. Additional finding within an element. You can add certain codes in PCC and they'll be associated with that element. As with superbill association, use judiciously and only when it's true every time it is done. Remember, codes don't update themselves. If you stuff a code and a new code comes out, you'll have to update these manually. So you only want to use unique codes for additional findings. You don't want to use the same additional finding for multiple elements. Look at the EHR to get an idea what prompts you need, if any, to enter appropriate information for your finding and additional findings. You have the patient education. You're going to need level of understanding, length, For exam, you're going to need results. For immunization, you're going to need lot number, dosage, route, VIS, etc. And comments are usually a good thing to offer the user. So here are the fields for your reminder dialogs, and with the description of those fields. And here's some more fields for your reminder dialogs and its description. Here are some more dialog fields with its explanation. And some more here. So here's an example of a simple checkbox. Here's an example how you create that checkbox using a simple template. And because it's just text, there's no resolution type, no orderable item, no finding. You're basically going to populate the dialog progress note text area with that template. Here's another method for using reminder prompts to create fields. And this one is actually utilizing a prompt that has a default. So you want to set up the prompt and add the elements. Also note that the overriding prompt capture is populated. And then you're going to select the checkbox sequence with the text. See here. And in the prompt, you want to set up the checkbox sequence with text. For the group, for dialog group definitions, these are the prompts, and then this is the description of those prompts. And these are the additional prompts. The difference between a element dialog definition and the dialog group definition is that you have multiple selection when you are grouping elements together. So, and these multiple selections act the same as radio button and checkboxes. He also has a group header, and you have the ability to hide and indent the different elements within your group. In this example, the dialog was created with no caption. You can only select one choice, and we do not hide the choice or indent them. And here's another example where the dialog was created with a caption box. Also, users can select multiple items from the list. And here's your caption box right here. Another alternative to caption box is, instead of using the group caption field, you will select put box around the group to group like items together and use the dialog progress note text for the heading. To gain access to the reminder dialogs, if you're in the BEH menu, you're going to select DLG. If you're in the PXRN manager menu, you're going to select DI. It opens up to the reminder view, and then you're going to use CV to see the pieces of a dialog. So let's go over the dialog pieces. These are the building blocks of a dialog. Prompts are the smallest piece. Prompts go into elements. Elements go into dialogs, or they can go into groups. And groups go into the dialog themselves. So you always want to check and see where you're at. And here we're at the dialog list. You want to check also if it's linked. And when you want to add a dialog, you're going to go ahead and select AD. So let's look at a dialog, and here's a dialog, and it has an exam element and another element called done elsewhere, or alcohol screening. So there's a display text and there's a group note text. These can be different. The display text is what the person entering the note sees. It's in the gray box. So this is what gets presented to the provider while they're answering a reminder or entering information in their notes. And an example here, the dialog progress note text says alcohol screening, enter results of the cage test. And then the alternative text, that's the one that's going to get recorded in the note. And it's the text that actually, when a patient requests a printout of their notes, this is what's going to be in that printout. So in this case, we have an alternative text that states cage test score. So after a lot of editing and grouping, your dialog can look like this. So here you have a group which got indented. and there's a box around your group with a title, a group title, and then you have another group that has another box with its title, so that's your group. The individual pieces inside the group are the elements, and then you have text only. So here, this piece will be for the provider only, but when you enter this into a note, this text only box will not appear, and what's going to appear is whatever you have placed in that alternative text for that element. Here's an example of an immunization dialog with prompts. So you have the text only element. So you may not necessarily want immunization due to be part of the notes. You just mainly wanted that for the benefit of the provider. Then you have a group, and then you have an element which has prompts for the site, lot number, immunization volume, vaccine sheet. So all the information that's in the gray box below here is going to be your dialog text. And then all the information below that, this is what gets put into RPMS. These are the finding items and any additional findings. So let's go over the different prompts that are available depending on the finding you choose. For this one, in this case, we have the patient education prompt. The resolution is what you see here. That's how you have to build your element. And then these are the additional prompts that you can add to that element. This is how it's going to look on the dialog template. And then if you went to the immunization tab, this is how that immunization tab will look with those corresponding prompts. Then elsewhere, this is historical. These are the prompts that you can add to your historical element for patient ed. This is how it looks in the dialog the provider will see. And then this is how it looks in the corresponding tab within EHR. Refusal, same thing here. These are the prompts that can be used for the refusal element of patient ed. And these are the corresponding dialogs that you see in your dialog template or your EHR. Immunization have its own unique prompts. These are the resolution with additional prompts. And then this is how it's going to look in the reminder dialog. This is how it looks if you went to the immunization tab. You have done elsewhere and then contraindicated. Skin test prompts, you have done an encounter, so it only has one prompt. And then you have done elsewhere with the reading. These are the prompts that you can use for that element. The exam prompt, these are the prompts that you can use when it's done an encounter, and this is how it looks. And then these are the prompts that you will see for done elsewhere, and this is how it looks. This is a health factor prompt that has smoking, and then we can put a comment field. These are the available prompts that I found in the system. So you may want to play with this and see what comes across. I haven't tested them all. Here's some more additional prompts. And so for our hands-on, we're going to make a reminder dialog. We're going to use prefix. We're going to make sure that you know it's yours. Consider appending the site name if you make significant changes, and for groups. And then we're going to use a naming convention, so that way we know when we create an element that this is a CPT element. It contains CPT codes. This is an education element. It contains education codes and so forth. So this concludes our presentation on Reminder Dialogs. If you have any questions, please contact your area CAC or your local CAC for further information. I hope this was useful, and thank you for watching. Bye now.